Welcome everyone to another episode where we delve into intriguing legal cases and uncover the principles that govern them. We're about to embark on a journey through the labyrinth of the Laska and Garvey case, a tale of financial disparity and divorce and the necessity of full disclosure. Our case involves an appeal from Miss Laska against orders made by the Federal Circuit and Family Court of Australia. The parties, parents to 6 children, found themselves entangled in a legal battle over assets and spouse maintenance. The case hinged on a property settlement proceeding that erupted after Miss Laska and Mr. Garvey, parents to 6 children, separated around early 2020. The assets in question were substantial, including the B Group of companies and a property in New Zealand. The B Group, with a value between $8 and $10 million, despite being encumbered by tax debt of over $6 million, still left equity to be considered by the court of between $2 and $4 million. As a result of these complexities and the glaring financial disparity between the parties, the stage was set for an engrossing legal showdown. The significant assets in question included the B Group of companies and a New Zealand property. The B Group, a complex web of financial interests, was valued between $8 and $10 million. However, it was burdened with a hefty tax debt, casting a shadow over its net worth. Meanwhile, the New Zealand property added another layer of complexity to the asset pool. Miss Laska, on the other hand, highlighted the economic disparity between her and Mr. Garvey, throwing the spotlight on the imbalance in their financial situations. This was not a simple case of dividing assets down the middle. The disparity in their financial circumstances, coupled with the intricate nature of the assets, brought a heightened level of complexity to the proceedings. The stage was set for a riveting legal confrontation. Miss Laska appealed the primary judge's decision, alleging non-disclosure of financial information by Mr. Garvey. This appeal brought to light the intricacies of financial disparity in divorce proceedings. Miss Laska argued that Mr. Garvey had not been entirely transparent about his financial affairs, particularly concerning the B Group of companies and the New Zealand property. She contended that this lack of full disclosure had led to an unfair division of assets. Miss Laska further claimed that the primary judge had not adequately considered her financial needs and those of their 6 children. The primary judge had dismissed her application for spouse maintenance, a decision she believed was unjust given the significant economic disparity between the parties. The appeal also highlighted the issue of interim property settlement. Miss Laska argued that she was entitled to an interim settlement due to the substantial income disparity. She was of the view that the primary judge had erred in dismissing her application for an interim property settlement, leaving her in a precarious financial position. Mr. Garvey, on the other hand, maintained that he had fully disclosed his financial affairs. He also argued that the primary judge had appropriately considered the financial needs of both parties and their children, and had rightly dismissed the application for spouse maintenance. The appeal raised several interesting legal questions. How should the court approach allegations of non-disclosure in divorce proceedings? What role does economic disparity play in decisions regarding property settlement and spouse maintenance? And importantly, had the primary judge erred in dismissing Miss Laska's applications? These questions were central to the appeal and required careful consideration by the court. The court's decision would not only impact Miss Laska and Mr. Garvey, but could also potentially shape the way courts approach similar cases in the future. The crux of the issue was whether the primary judge erred in handling the property and dismissing the application for spouse maintenance. As we delve into the next scene, we will explore the governing legislation and precedents that guide such decisions and the court's final ruling on these critical matters. The case was governed by legislation such as the Child Support Assessment Act, 1989, and the Family Law Act, 1975. These laws not only regulate financial matters after separation, but also clarify the obligations of each party. The Child Support Act, for instance, outlines the financial responsibilities of parents for their children's well-being. On the other hand, the Family Law Act provides a framework for property settlement and spousal maintenance. This case also leaned on significant legal precedents. House and the King, a landmark Australian case, sets the standard for appealing discretionary judgments. It states that an appeal should demonstrate that the judgment made was clearly unjust or erroneous. Another precedent, Norbis Viv Norbis, further reinforced this principle, emphasizing the need for an identifiable legal error for a successful appeal. These laws and precedents elucidate the principles governing appeals from discretionary judgments. The court meticulously examined the evidence, assessing each piece with a fine-tooth comb. The financial disparity between Miss Laska and Mr. Garvey was indeed significant, but the court was careful to note that such disparity alone does not warrant an interim property settlement or spousal maintenance. This is a critical point to understand, as it underscores the court's commitment to fairness and equity, rather than simply addressing economic imbalances. The court also scrutinized Mr. Garvey's financial disclosures, acknowledging that while some information may have been omitted, it was not to the extent that it would materially affect the outcome of the case. This echoes an important principle in law: the obligation of full and frank disclosure. However, the court recognized that minor omissions or inaccuracies do not necessarily constitute a breach of this obligation, especially if they are not pivotal to the case's outcome. In terms of the children's needs, the court noted that these had been adequately considered by the primary judge. This is another fundamental aspect of family law. While the needs of the adults are important, the welfare of the children is paramount. The court's decision, therefore, hinged on these three key points: the financial disparity, the alleged non-disclosure, and the children's needs. After thorough examination, it concluded that none of these factors had been handled erroneously by the primary judge. This case serves as a reminder that the court's role is not to make decisions based on personal sympathies or perceived injustices, but to apply the law as it stands. It also underscores the importance of a thorough and honest financial disclosure in divorce proceedings. Upholding the primary judge's decision, the court emphasized that a different decision by another judge doesn't necessarily indicate error. This statement encapsulates the essence of the judicial process. It is about upholding the law and ensuring justice, not about catering to individual preferences or perspectives. The appeal was ultimately dismissed, with Miss Laska ordered to pay Mr. Garvey's costs. This marks the end of a lengthy legal battle that has undoubtedly left an indelible mark on all parties involved. The court's decision was rooted in the principles of justice, equity, and a firm stance against any form of financial non-disclosure. It serves as a stark reminder that an appeal must demonstrate a clear error in discretion and not merely a dissatisfaction with the outcome. The Laska and Garvey case underscores the significance of complete financial transparency in divorce proceedings, particularly in matters of property settlement and spouse maintenance. It sends a clear message to all parties in such situations that truthfulness and honesty are paramount. This case highlights the pivotal role of full disclosure and the court's reluctance to grant leave to appeal against interlocutory orders. Thank you for joining us on this legal journey, unraveling the complexities of the Laska and Garvey case. In family law, every case is unique, every decision critical. Join us next time as we explore another intriguing case in this complex world. Don't forget to like and subscribe to keep your finger on the pulse of the court.